First and most importantly, I always stand in awe of those of you who have been victimized by this horrific crime and step out of the shadows and not only try to seek justice, but then go on and try to do even more. And I think while there are some policy differences in the United States Senate, I think we all are such fans of your courage and your tenacity. So I want to thank you very much for that. You know, as somebody who spent years as a sex crimes prosecutor and walked into the courtroom hand in hand with hundreds of victims, I am painfully aware of the shortcomings of victim services for this crime, no matter where it occurs. And one of the things I wanted to visit briefly with both of you about is, first, I want to thank the military because I think it is the research and the recognition of PTSD that has allowed the civilian criminal justice system to begin to get their arms around the fact, I think most of the victims I worked with in the late 70s and 80s and 90s were suffering from PTSD. And those that were victims of domestic violence were suffering from PTSD. And our ability to treat this and prevent suicide as a result of this absolutely insidious illness should be at the top of all of our lists. And so I think that at least now we are beginning to recognize the problem. We got a ways to go, obviously, with having the services tailored to the type of stress and trauma that has brought about this illness, and I think that's what we're all focused on trying to do now. If either one of you, at the moment you reported, whether it's to a social worker or at a hospital or wherever, whether it was restricted or unrestricted, if at that moment you had gotten your own lawyer whose only job was to look out for you, do you think it could have made a difference in terms of how you were treated as you navigated this difficult process and the services that you might have been provided?
Thank you, Senator. I do believe a lawyer would be helpful, especially one that is impartial and not in my command or anywhere related.
Was I told about anything about, hey, these are your rights and you could have your own attorney? I think that would have helped as being somebody that was advocated that's, you know, not biased within the chain of command. For the simple fact is because you don't know if that person that may be advocating for you or your so-called lawyer, I don't know if you're referring to a civilian lawyer or a military lawyer, but you don't know if that's a golfing buddy or somewhere down the line that they know each other. I believe it would help tremendously, you know, to have somebody there along as supporting you because I had nobody.
I know that when I was prosecutor, there were sometimes victims that declined to go forward, even after we'd gone through a lot of the process, and I felt very strongly that the case could be successfully prosecuted, and the victim, for a lot of reasons, including mental health issues, PTSD issues, said, no, I'm done. And at that moment in time, the lack of trust that victim may have had in me, because I was part of a system. You know, I was associated with the police, and, you know, if they had had their own independent lawyer that would have been giving them advice just for them, a little bit like we do with court-appointed special advocates for children in the juvenile system in the civilian cases, where there is a lawyer, an advocate for the child that's not associated with any of the other parties in the conflict. I'm hoping that what we've done, which is remarkable, that we are going to require this for all victims, is going to set a standard. First of all, this has never been done anywhere in the world has this occurred. I'm really hopeful that it will once again show the way to the civilian system that we've got to find the resources to get victims. And in the civilian system, the victims have no guarantee of any mental health services. None. Zip. Nada. There's nothing there. A lot of them don't have insurance. There's, you know, so you have to kind of try to cobble together. Finally, I want to say we are determined to get rid of the good soldier defense. I am confident that's going to happen. If not in the next month, then certainly with the next NDAA. I have not encountered opposition to this idea, so I want you to know that before you go.